Okay, awesome. Yeah, a big welcome, everybody. Welcome back if you're returning. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe. So today we're doing, we're watching a video of Deconverted Man who watched my video called Why I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist. And he's done a rebuttal video to it. So my video is 8.5 minutes. His is 56 minutes. So just in the interest of making this video not too long, I'm going to try and move it as quickly as possible. So we'll get straight into it. So here goes.
Converted man here. Okay, I'm going to do this a little bit differently than the first time I did it that no longer exists. Don't worry about it. I'm going to go ahead and take this guy's transcript, put it in Notepad, open Notepad. Okay, yeah. Okay, just can you? All right, here we go. And then I'm going to read his script because the problem is his video audio is so bad that even though I cranked it all the way up, you can barely hear what he says.
Yeah, it's true. I've recorded it by the beach. Yeah, apologies for that.
So I'm going to show his video, but I'm going to share the script that he has. So because you can, like I said, you can't hear him. So I'm going to read parts of his script, and you can, you see he actually does have a video, and you can see that I'm not like straw manning him or whatever. OV is linked in the description and all that, but we're not going to hear his video. We're going to hear me reading some of the things from his video, and my camera is giving me a delay, and that's making me go nuts. Okay, that's great. All right. So I'm not going to read everything he wrote. He says, this is where I want to start with. He says, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. Okay, so also, let me go ahead and put the thing on the screen here. Okay, that. Actually, you know what? Why don't we put this? Hold on. Instead of doing that, because that's not very good formatting, we will do it in the other thing. That's okay, because nobody's watching right now, so I can screw around and do whatever I want. But then later, people will be watching this, and they'll be like, "Deconverted man, what are you doing?" It's professionalism, man. It's all professionalism. All right. Just okay. Man, it's such a weird little thingy. Creep writer thingy. Okay, takes a moment. How are you all doing? Hope you're doing okay. Are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks. How are you?
Drink some soda here. I might just redo this, whatever. Oh, no, there it goes. Okay, well, I mean, this is better-ish. Let's see. No, well, that kind of sucked. Can we center all of it? Yeah, I like that better. All right, I guess, whatever. It's good enough. Okay, so, I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. No, don't get me wrong, I tried. Did you, though? I mean, you didn't really try that hard. I bought the hoodie. There isn't an atheist hoodie. That's just silly. I followed Reddit threads. I don't know why you would do that. I even said there's no God in Richard Dawkins' accent to see how it felt. No, you didn't. Why are you lying? Why even bother with any of this? So, I mean, we know that.
Obviously, I don't walk around saying I don't have enough faith to be an atheist in Richard Dawkins' accent. It's just a joke, but never mind.
It's not true. We know that you didn't try to be an atheist. We know that you didn't say this. This is all hyperbolic. You don't need this. Get rid of it. Let's focus on this bit here. So is faith good or bad? That would be my question. Because you're saying you don't have enough, so A is going to be atheist, and then Christian's going to be below that, and then some other thing's going to be below that. Let's see. It takes a lot of faith apparently to be an atheist, but it takes less faith to be a Christian. Is there some other thing that takes even less faith to believe in than Christianity? And then whatever that is, that's what we would want to be. And that would be if faith is bad, then we don't want more is bad and less is good. But we are admitting it is faith. It is still faith in both cases. It's just more here than it is here, right? And maybe, I don't know, Zoroastrianism, I don't know how to spell that, is less faith or whatever. Maybe, I don't know, for all I know, Hinduism takes a little bit more faith than Christianity. Maybe Judaism takes less faith to have than Christianity. So whatever is the lowest amount of faith is what we'd have to be, and that would make us a skeptic. So I guess he wants us to be a skeptic, right?
No, I would need to be a Christian. So I think this is a red herring or a straw man, because my title is obviously based off this book, which he knows. It's like a hook. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist, because atheists think that we believe in God on blind faith. So I'm sort of turning it around back on him and saying that actually it requires more faith to believe that there isn't a God. So it's more reasonable to believe that there is a God. So I'm not sure why he's talking about whether or not it's good or bad. It's got like nothing to do with the title of the book, But anyway, it's he's entitled to say what he wants.
But this phrase, of course, comes from the Frank Turek book. That's what he named his book, and it is just so lame. And all it is an attempt at a 2Q quay. You as well. Well, we both are in the same boat. I have faith. Well, you have faith too. No, I don't. I don't have faith. So you're wrong. And he says atheism is a belief system. That's incorrect. It's not a belief system, nor is it really even technically a system. So full of blind leaps, wishful thinking, and unprovable assumptions are realized. Okay, well, you're going to have to make an argument for all that. And he says it takes more faith to believe in nothing than a creator. So he's assuming that there is some belief in nothing that goes along with atheism. Well, I did that poll, the informal poll, with a number of atheists, and I'll put the link to that video in the description. You probably have seen it if you're a fan of me. But all the atheists I asked if we believe in nothing. Do you believe nothing created the universe? And I don't need my earphones on. I don't know why I have them. I guess I was like thinking I was going to try to listen to his video. But like I said, his audio is terrible. So I'll play some of it so you understand what I'm talking about. But so no is the answer. No atheist that I asked said yes. They could have said anything. But no. We all said no. I think, now I have no way to prove it, but if you pulled more atheists, I would think that would just continue upward. I don't think that there's a single atheist out there that legitimately believes the universe came from nothing. This is...
So I've just typed into ChatGPT that question, and it says that Lawrence Krauss, who's a teacher at Yale, and Stephen Hawking argued that the universe came from nothing. However, what they actually mean by nothing is a quantum vacuum, which is technically not a thing. It says here that some believe in an eternal universe, like Carl Sagan, which doesn't make sense to me. Why would a universe say? Okay, so over 95% of scientists believe that in the Big Bang, and the dark matter in the universe shows that the Big Bang is expanding at an accelerating rate, and the second law of thermodynamics states that there is not entropy in the universe, which shows that there's been one Big Bang. So anything that began at a cause points towards a creator. So obviously I don't have evidence that there's a creator with this argument, but the most reasonable logical thing is that if there's a Big Bang that's accelerating, it shows that it's not accelerating and then going back in. Like I said, the energy in the universe shows that there's been one Big Bang. One Big Bang that's accelerating shows that there was a beginning. Now, a beginning requires a cause requires a causer. That's just basic logic. Okay, so that's the most reasonable thing. And yeah, but Carl Sagan believes in an eternal universe. So the problem with that is, if all those things I just mentioned, if something was just almost really small for a long time, why would it suddenly just explode? It doesn't make sense. And then, it says here, agnostic atheists, we don't know. So what he's trying to say is that my statement was an overgeneralization. I shouldn't have said that, atheists believe that something came from nothing, because it implies that all atheists believe. However, in my statement, I don't actually say all atheists. However, that's what he's implying. So I take that back. Some atheists believe that something came from nothing. Some believe in an eternal universe, and some say they don't know, and that's on ChatGPT, and you can type that in yourself. Okay.
What is called a construct straw man. You have constructed an idea that is not real, and then made the argument for that non-real entity. So it is a construct, and it's a straw man. So it's a construct straw man. It's not true. We don't believe in nothing. I personally don't think. I don't know what nothing would be, and nothing wouldn't be a thing. Nothing is so not a thing that it can't be a thing. So there was no nothing, there is no nothing, and the only nothing that is the idea of nothing, which is still a thing, so it's not really nothing.
Okay, in that statement, he said, I don't really know, but then there is no nothing. And so basically he's making like a mixture of like truth claims, but then the truth claim is that I don't really know at the same time. So he's sort of contradicting himself in one sentence.
But I don't believe in that, so that's wrong. Part one, atheism is a belief system. It isn't. But then he says, atheists say they don't.
But he just said, I don't believe in that. And then he's just said, atheism is not a belief system.
Believe in anything. That's also incorrect. Atheists do not say that. Atheists say, we don't believe in God. That's the only thing that you need to say to be an atheist is, I don't believe in God. So when asked the question, do you believe in God? If you say no, you're an atheist. That's it. So that's as far.
Okay, my argument to that is, therefore then, as a Christian, all you have to believe to be a Christian is that Jesus rose from the dead, which means that all these other things that you press us on, for example, things in the Old Testament, then I don't have to answer them, because as a Christian, all I have to believe in is that Jesus rose from the dead.
Removed it from any belief system as I think you can get. Do you believe in leprechauns? No. Guess what? You're an a-leprechaunist. It's not really a thing because there's not a need for it, but yeah, you would be an a-leprechaunist. Do you believe in goblins, ogres, or dragons? No, well then you're a goblinist, a ogress, and an a dragonist.
See, this is a common thing that atheists do. Now, I don't think he's doing it intentionally, but like often atheists will sort of start mocking, and they'll start talking about fairies and pixies and whatever. And what it is it's an attempt, because they can't answer valid questions. What they'll do instead is just mock. But I don't think he's actually intending to mock me. He's actually being reasonably respectful anyway.
But God you might believe in, and then you're a theist. So but it's just more nonsense. They say that like a lack of belief sounds humble, right? Well, I don't know if it's humble or not, but it is true. We don't have a belief in God, but we might have other beliefs. To be an atheist, you have to believe that everything came from nothing. This is not a true statement, because you don't have to believe in anything to be an atheist. Okay, so regarding the universe, I hold no beliefs about that. I look to science to.
That's not simply not true. He'll say, I have no beliefs in that, but then he will, like, atheists will then always say all these factual statements. Anyway, you'll see.
Answer that question, because I don't know. And I also recognize that they don't necessarily know, and that they have models, and it's mathematics, and we've only explored 0.00001% of the universe, and we have no idea, and that's fine, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not knowing. I don't know is my answer. How did the universe get here? Don't know. No idea. So that means I don't have a belief regarding the universe, since I have no idea how it came to be or why it is. But whatever.
But I disagree, because he doesn't believe in God, so he does have a belief. He believes, like he literally says, I don't believe in God, so therefore he does have a belief about the universe, the fact that the universe was not made by God, so he does have a belief.
An answer is, well, I don't know, but I don't need to know what the answer is to know what the answer is not. And so I like to do I don't know what 1,000,000 to the power of 72 is. No idea. Maybe off the top of your.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense, because he's saying I don't have to know what is to know what is not, but he's still saying that it's not God. So he's what he's doing, he's taking away the possibility of God being what is.
But I would need to put it in a calculator or ChatGPT or something. But I do know what the answer is not. I know the answer is not 0. I know it's going to be a number bigger than 1,000,000. I know it's not going to be a negative number. I know it's not going to be a decimal number. I know it's not going to be a fraction. So there's many things I can know about it without knowing what the answer is. There's things I can know what it isn't. And I'm not necessarily saying that it's not God, but that depends entirely on what you say God is. But in regard.
No, but again, he's using semantics. He's playing around with words, like avoiding the subject. Like in this particular case, where we're literally talking about a creator. So he's like saying, well, what, he's effectively saying, well, we don't even know what do you mean by God, but, in this particular case, it's pretty obvious what I mean. It means like a creator of the universe.
To whatever made the universe, or if anything made the universe, maybe the universe always was, or maybe it's how you look at it, or I don't know. But whatever that answer is, no idea. But I cannot then therefore conclude that means not God or God, either way. So we have to leave that out of the equation.
Yeah, but he said that, but then literally 5 minutes ago he says to be an atheist you just have to not believe in God. So he's actually eliminating God from the argument, but now he's saying that he's not,
And other atheists, I suspect, would follow suit with that, if not word for word, like I said, then a similar way. But no, we don't have to believe that the universe came from anything. In other words, we don't have to believe anything. You just have to not believe in God. You don't need to believe in anything about anything else at all. Period. End of story. But he wouldn't have a script if he didn't lie. Now
I'm not lying though. That's the thing. I'm not lying. Like I'm literally just using common sense and logic. Like, and I've just shown you how he's just contradicting himself from one sentence to the next.
He goes on and says life came from non-life. Well, this is not a belief. This is a conclusion based on evidence. So this is not a belief.
See, again, semantics. He's just playing around with words, but he's refusing to answer the question. The question here is, like, I'm saying that that it's impossible to have life come from non-life without God. But instead of him like suggesting an alternative, he's just dancing around it with playing on words.
Right? Because a belief suggests, again, that idea of what he means by faith. I'm speculating because he didn't tell us.
Okay, so you're an ex-Christian. You should know what my position is on faith. Faith is trust based on evidence, and you should know that. And you obviously know I'm a Christian.
Without evidence, right? That's what I'm guessing he means by faith. Well,
belief without evidence. No, you should know, being a Christian, ex-Christian, that it's like I said, it's faith based on evidence.
the thing that we call life is made up of cells and stuff, and then those cells are made up of chemicals, and those chemicals, when you go as you go back far enough, because you have to go way back when, apparently were floating around in water or goo or whatever the bleep they were, and they were just chilling being chemicals, and a couple of them got together and they were like, and then they were chilling, and then more chemicals came and they combined.
So this guy's actually a really cool guy, and you can see he's a nice guy, and he's not mocking too much. He's awesome, but what he's basically trying to do now is he's explaining like evolution, but which is fine. But this kind of example of evolution, like everybody sort of knows, don't they, from like high school. You know, I would like more references. Like if he's going to refute, we're 14 minutes in. If he's going to refute my video, then I would like more like references to scientists, to books, so I can go away and research. But things with evolution, again, he's saying going back, but then you notice he'll just stop at cells. And what I'm saying is, okay, so when you keep going back, then what? And the most reasonable thing is that if you've had a big bang, an explosion, and like I said, something that began to exist had a cause outside of space, matter, and time. Like scientists will often just start talking about evolution, but then where did it come from? There's no evidence of 2-cell, 3-cell, 4-cell, or even 5-cell beings. We've just got 1 cell. There's also no evidence of macroevolution. Anyway, let's go.
With each other, and at some point through this gradual process, as more complexity built up, that gained a function that it didn't have before, or maybe it sort of had a little function, and then it gained a little more function, and a little more function, and a little more function, and that just kept staircasing up.
Okay, but there's no evidence of macroevolution. There's only evidence of adaptations.
Complexity, until at some point you had something that we would call life. But maybe there's no line there. It's like if you had a gradient from black to white, and here in the middle is gray, you'd say, well, where does it stop being black and start becoming white? And you're like, well, I can't really answer that question, because
if you can't really answer that question, why do you believe it? How come with the beginning of the universe you're like, oh, we don't know, but with this it's like you're so certain of evolution, but again you're saying we don't know, and you're giving me no references and no anything.
It's like right there, it's kind of black and kind of white, so maybe that's where it starts, but it would get fuzzy. Okay, so we won't be able to pinpoint. It's like from anywhere from 245 to 270, or 245 to 270. That wouldn't be a number. Anywhere from well, that wouldn't be a time. I was trying to think time. 240 to 245. So a window of about 5 minutes, right? And I'm not sure what that time frame is, but that's the window. Okay. So well, when did it start? I'm like, well, I can't really tell you for sure. I know it's within there somewhere, but I can't be exact. Okay. But yeah, chemicals formed life. I don't need to believe it. It just seems to be that's where they came from, or life came from chemicals. Yeah, that's it, I guess. And it's not a belief. It's just like, well, that's where it. I mean, where else did it come from? Do you have any other hypotheses to forward?
Yeah, God created them.
I don't need to believe it because that's what the evidence is.
But you haven't told me any scientists. You haven't given me any references. Nothing, and you just sort of half-baked explanation of evolution. I know that cells are a lot more complex than that, and you're just saying that it's just chemicals. I know there's cell membranes, there's nuclei, there's all sorts going on, but it's just sort of like a very amateur description of evolution without any references.
Consciousness comes from chemistry. Well, this is evidently true because based on evidence, not faith. So again.
Okay, yeah, but with that is that like the atheists rely on the material world, so they can map out using sort of like machines, sort of things going on in the brain, like on a chart. It might be like red or blue or whatever like that, but they can't explain like things like consciousness, things like logic, what it feels like to be in love, what grief feels like. You can't explain any of that stuff with the material world.
Our brain is an electrochemical thing that produces the thing that we call consciousness. That's an observation, and it's true. If there is or isn't a God, it's still true. So this is not a belief.
Okay, but what about people who was it after death experience, like near death experiences where their body has died and they've literally gone to heaven, and then like an hour later or half an hour later that they've literally met God, come back into their body, and then and then their body starts working again, that shows like that there is a consciousness outside of the physical brain, and there's like numerous cases of this. And for you to say a statement like that, you'd literally have to discount like all of those testimonies.
Morality came from matter. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Unless you mean humans. Humans are made of matter, but then again, so is that. So it's wrong to say that it came from matter.
No, okay, let me explain. So morality is a non-physical thing, you know, like mathematics in the universe, like I said, logic and love. These are non-material things, and like to not believe in God, you would have to like believe that these things literally came from matter, but there's no like evidence of it just appearing from matter.
It would be proper to say that morality came from humans and human interaction, and morality evolved with us. And again, that's an observable fact, whether there's a God or not. So that's not a belief that I have to have, and it has nothing to do with atheism either. So none of the, like I said, the only thing that has anything to do with atheism is not believing in God. You don't have to believe anything else at all.
Yeah, you do. That's the thing. It's like what he's doing is basically he's putting up this shield saying, look, this is all I believe. So therefore, like we can't like pin him down on anything or question his worldview, and just showing how unreasonable it is. So effectively, you know, he's just avoiding this whole area that like supports his atheist worldview. But then he'll go on a Christian channel, or he'll talk, you know, he'll do his videos on refuting Christians, but then he will attack all of their beliefs that support them being a Christian, which is basically Jesus rose from the dead. So he's kind of a double standard.
No atheist worldview, but he's trying desperately. And that reason came from randomness. This also makes no sense. Reason is...
It does make sense. Like I said, the reason is a non-physical thing. And I'm saying, what I'm effectively saying is like, okay, where did it come from? In other words, I'm saying, where did it come from? Because if it doesn't come from a mind, a God that has a mind, you know, you're just saying it just come from what, nothing, or just some random place, you know, from the material world. So it does make sense.
That we humans came up with, so it came from humans, and that's it. That's not random, though. That's not a lack of belief. Well, you're technically correct in that those statements aren't a lack of belief, because these statements are true in reality and don't require belief at all. But you're wrong in that an atheist has to accept these. You don't have to. You could disbelieve all of that if you're an atheist. The only requirement is that you don't believe in God. You could believe that humans came from aliens, or space monkeys, or time travel paradox, or magic. As long as it's not God, you could believe in it. I suspect there'd be very few atheists that would agree with that, but that all atheism is the word that means without God. That's it. So, you know, the desperation of some apologists to try to make this a worldview is really, I think, pathetic.
Well, no, but it's not pathetic. No, but it's just again, he's just hiding behind that one line, isn't he? Like, oh, only to be an atheist, you know, you just have to not believe in God, which I think is just a bit of a cop out, really.
This is what Richard Dawkins. I don't care about Dawkins. Maybe I need to do another informal poll of atheists to find out if we care about Dawkins or not. I don't think we do. Stop treating Dawkins like he's the end-all be-all. The only person that Dawkins speaks for is himself. Okay, he doesn't represent any other atheists except for him. And what? Okay,
fair enough. But a lot of atheists have just been like, a lot of people have become atheists because of him. A lot of people, like, what was he, the number one bestseller, isn't he, of from the New Atheist Movement? Well, no, it's fair enough if you don't rate him, but I wouldn't go, like you said, that atheists don't rate him, but I think they clearly do by the fact of his book sales.
He said is irrelevant. Now he says, well, let's talk about the origin of the universe, and we're going to get into the stupid Kalam. Okay, the origin of the universe, I don't know about it, and neither do you. You're not a scientist, you're not a cosmologist, so you're not qualified to speak on it. Neither am I. I know.
Yes, I know the things. I'm not qualified to speak on it, but I can read. I am capable of reading the experts. Like, you know, you don't have to be a PhD student to read what Dawkins says, or Stephen Hawkins, or whoever. Any of these people who have researched it for a long time, and they've done their papers, and they write it in a way for laymen like me to understand. So, you know, I think that's kind of like, I wouldn't say it's an ad hominem, but like it's kind of like what he's saying is, you can't have an opinion on this because you're not educated enough. But we've both got an opinions on a lot of things, and I mean he does videos every day or every few days, whatever, on many different subjects to do with Christianity and to do with all these things. But he's still giving an opinion, even though he's not a PhD student on them.
Not much. Maybe you know a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but we don't know basically to the least squat. The experts on the subject also don't really know if there is an origin of the universe in the first place. And I know you could be like, but I looked up Google and Google said Big Bang is the origin of the universe. Yeah, but did you find a scientist that agreed with that in a peer-reviewed published paper? Do you even know how to
Oh, here we go.
got a peer-reviewed published paper? Google Scholar would give you a start, but have you then read that peer-reviewed published paper?
Okay, cool. Okay, awesome. Okay, peer review paper. Okay, so to understand the Kalam cosmological argument, which is a very simple thing to understand, and it's very reasonable. All you have to do is understand that cosmologists and astronomers have just witnessed things in the universe. Scientists and these guys put together this very simple philosophy that anyone can understand. That's all you need to understand. You don't need to read a peer reviewed paper on it, And it's like, on the subject of, can I understand peer review? Have I ever read one? I'm actually studying apologetics. This is my master's degree. And look, I don't know if you can see these, but these are the resources I got. So effectively what he's doing, again, he's just sort of like, I don't know if he's appealing to authority, but he's basically trying to sort of belittle me as a way of sort of strengthening his argument. But again, he hasn't given any references, he hasn't given any scientists, any scholars, any papers, any links or anything. He's just, so far, in my opinion, just given opinion. Oops.
The origins of the universe. And is it published by a cosmologist or just a schmuck that doesn't know what the hell they're doing? So you're going to need more than this.
Okay, I'm going to... Okay, name me famous scientists who believe in the Big Bang. I'm asking ChatGPT. Great question. Most modern scientists accept the Big Bang theory as the best explanation for the origin of the universe. So George Lamentiers, astronomer, Belgian Catholic priest, so he's one of the first, he proposed it, right? And then Albert Einstein, Edwin Hubble, Stephen Hawking, George Gamow, and Robert Wilson, Arnaud Penzias accidentally discovered cosmic microwave radiation back in 1965. That was the smoking gun evidence for the Big Bang, wins Nobel Peace Prize for Physics 1978. Modern scientists who affirm it. Lawrence Krauss, the theoretical physicist, atheist, that's the guy who was teaching at Yale. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Brian Greene, and Sean Carroll. Anyway.
Okay, the Kalam cosmological argument. I did a whole video on that called KCA, and I point out all the logical fallacies therein, but I'll just summarize real quick. It has the parts of the compositional fallacy, also called the parts in the whole fallacy, and that's premise one. That's all I need. I only need one fallacy, and then the rest of the argument falls apart. Okay. I don't need to mention more. There are lots of fallacies in the argument. I only need one. The argument assumes that because things have causes, that the universe has a cause. Well, the parts of the universe that we know about have causes, maybe. And then when you get into quantum physics, it gets really fuzzy. But scientists who actually understand what the hell they're talking about have reviewed the cosmological argument and talked about how wrong it is in terms of science. So I'm going to go with what the cosmologist scientists have to say on this.
Who are they?
What some philosopher.
Yeah, but who are they, my friend? You know what I mean? It's like you're saying about these cosmologists, these people who really know what they're talking about. Whereas you, Ed, you shouldn't have an opinion on this because you haven't read a peer-reviewed paper on it. Okay, but who are they? And you're saying you've done a video on it, but the problem is you've done about 1,500 videos. So I'm not going to scroll through trying to find that video. But no, I'll probably just comment below. Can you give me a link to your video? Because I am interested in learning and I'm open to changing my mind. I'm not just like, sort of adamant in my beliefs. I'm open to changing my mind. And if your video can convince me, I will change my mind.
They reviewed Craig's arguments, his defense of it. And I know he's not the end-all be-all, but he's the one that, got the KCA to be noticed. And he's just wrong about cosmology on like every single conceivable level that a person could be wrong. So he's not even a little right. And the papers that he cites are outdated, or the way that he understands them is wrong, and so on and so forth. So scientists, and I can link you to those links if you want me to. Let me know in the comments below, because if you don't care, I'm not going to link you to the video that shows what I'm talking about. Remind me what the thing is in the comment below, and then I'll do it.
Okay, cool. So this is your rebuttal video to my video, and yeah, I would appreciate if this Kalam cosmological argument is a load of trash, then you could just at least name me like one person. I mean, you did give me one fallacy about a couple of minutes ago, which is good. But yeah, I'll comment below. Thank you.
But yeah, the KCA is broken. And then the other problem is, if the Big Bang cosmology is correct, if you get to a point backwards in time where you get this heat, this super mega heat, and it is hot, and it's called the Planck temperature. And at this temperature, atoms aren't. The atoms, the little things that make us and everything, they aren't there. Because it's too...
Thing is, like 10 minutes ago, you said that we don't know. It's like, well, we don't know. And now you're saying that at the, 14.5 billion years ago, it was so hot and atoms didn't exist and stuff.
hot. That's how hot it is.
So if that's the case, then why do all these people believe in the Big Bang? Why does ChatGPT say most scientists, modern scientists, accept the Big Bang theory as the best explanation? Right at the top there. See?
There is no physical stuff yet because it's just too hot. And cause and effect, blink if I know if that would still happen in that universe. You don't know, I don't know, nobody knows, because we have no physics to map what that heat would act like.
Okay, so we don't know yet. You're telling me that you know that it was really hot and there was no atoms. Okay, all right.
If we don't know what that universe is, then we can't make any statements about it, which is exactly what the Kalam tries to do. It tries to use inductive reasoning to go backwards in time. But when we confront the reality that we know or think to be the case, we see that there hits a wall, a firewall, and we said, well, there it is. We don't know anymore. Maybe we can't know if that's true because the damn universe is on fire and it's too hot. So we don't know what the hell's going on. And you might say, well, but logic, I'm like, forget it. Logic flies out the window. Well, not all of it, but some of it. And we don't know if cause and effect is true because it's too damn hot. So
why do most modern scientists believe in the Big Bang then?
You have to ignore science to do the Kalam cosmologic argument. But that's not surprising because people who use the Kalam don't. Who cares about science? Craig said it.
I mean, like the Kalam cosmological argument is very simple, isn't it? Like I mentioned before, it's like whatever began to exist had a cause, and therefore a cause has to have a causa, and that cause is outside of space, matter, and time. And all these people support the Big Bang, so it's the most reasonable thing, isn't it? You don't have to be like some crazy Christian to just believe that. It's the most reasonable thing.
So that one is flawed logically throughout. And so I don't need to cover it again. It's in my video KCA. I'll link to that video. Remind me. Let's see. Remind to link to KCA. I'll remind myself. Okay. Have you tried making something from nothing? Again, we don't believe the universe came from nothing. So none of this matters. Okay.
We don't believe the universe came from nothing.
Fine-tuning. Fine-tuning of the universe. Okay.
But what do you believe? You know what I mean? It's like, well, we don't believe in anything. We just don't believe in these things. It's like, yeah, whatever.
The universe is not fine-tuned.
Oh, here we go again. The universe is not fine-tuned.
And the guy that came up with the fine-tuning arguments, if you know who that is, I've got links to an interview with him where he talks about this. What he meant, apparently, by what he wrote about fine-tuning is that the phrase means we need better understanding of the physics to make sense of these numbers that appear. That's what he meant by fine-tuning. And so theists just see the word fine-tuning, they take that word and they run with it like it's,